Sounds right.
So typically, if I'm in a bad mood or going through something, I will watch TikTok. And here's the thing: I have refused to get TikTok all throughout the pandemic. Never wanted to do it. I'm like, oh, it's for little kids. I would never get on there. I'm good. Well, fast forward in 2020, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of curious. And literally, y'all, the first time I got on TikTok, I watched the video almost 30 times. The same video. Because I could not stop laughing at how hilarious some of these videos are. And it was a dog who was sitting on the couch, and the girl was having a mental breakdown. And she started singing these lyrics to the song so hard and was screaming them. And the dog looked over like, you would have to hear it. It was so funny. That was the first one I saw. And I just kept playing it. It is so funny. And then recently I just saw a one with a couple of dogs. And I didn't know pugs have long hair. Like they can have long hair.
What has long hair?
Pugs, dogs.
Oh, the little ones with the curly tail? Them?
Yeah. And apparently there's some with like long, big hair. And this lady has like 4 or 5 of them. And the 2 that had the long hair was like on the little bed that they sleep on. And the other 2, she was like, okay. She's like, don't you fight over the new bed. And next thing you know, they come over and jump this dog. They jumped the dog. And they pulled his hair. And somebody in the comments said they done pulled her wig.
All right, you're going to have to show us the actual TikToks because we look at
that's one of them had to be their moment.
right now. Yeah, you got to be there for that.
It be the comments be off the chain. And it is literally the funniest thing. So whenever I want to laugh, at least for an hour, TikTok it is. I be TikToking it up, y'all.
Laughter is good for the soul.
It is.
Bitch, I be going down TikTok rabbit holes too. TikTok will brighten up your day. I swear.
Yep. If I didn't need cable, Ashley, I probably wouldn't even watch cable because I literally stay on TikTok for hours, and it's bad because if you have no control, you are going down rabbit holes for like 5 hours. 5 hours would pass before you even realize that you've been on it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So I love it.
I mean, I'm on TikTok, but I only got on it for this. I haven't like actually scrolled and looked at it, but my parents are addicted to it. My parents will sit up in the bed and look at TikTok for like 2 hours before they go to bed every night.
Mm-hmm.
It happens faster than you think once you start watching it, especially if you're watching funny stuff like therapy TikTok. Like if you put in hashtag therapy TikTok, some of the stuff on there as a therapist is outright hilarious.
Yeah, did you see the one where the therapist played the song like the FNM? Yeah, that song. And she was like, when my client pull up, she's like, I know it's gonna be a good session.
Well, that's the thing though. So TikTok is giving y'all like some kind of like mental escape from like real life shit, basically.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Basically. For hours.
That's a lot. It does not sound healthy to me. Like that does not sound like
healthy is subjective. Okay. It's subjective. Depends.
You know what though? I use that, like I use laughter in therapy with my clients a lot. Especially when we're talking about things that they might be uncomfortable with. Like we talked about in a previous episode, how people tend to use comedy and humor to kind of protect themselves from like reality or like things that actually happen to them. So I use that in therapy. But one of the things I always encourage my clients to do, yes, you use this TikTok or whatever as a distraction in the moment to regulate your body's reaction to whatever's happening. But it's so important to always, at some point, it might not be the next 10 minutes, it might not be the next day, but at some point you return back to whatever it is that you're escaping from. And you address it to try to figure out what was going on. But like the laughter in the moment, like all your whole body's reaction to whatever's happening, whatever's making you anxious or feel sad or whatever, it's gone. Because like when you laugh, it just like goes away. I don't know what happens, but it does that.
Because
it's an amazing thing.
It increases
Humor
your
is
serotonin,
therapeutic.
like your happy drug.
Yeah.
Your levels go up, like when things are funny or when you laugh. And so, even when you're sad, but something is funny, you can like binge laugh. That's a new word, binge laugh, where you just can't stop and you just got to keep on going and going and going, because sometimes people got to laugh to keep from crying. I love to laugh. Listen, I laugh at stuff that's not even appropriate. You can't sit next to me at a funeral.
Oh my God. I'm the worst. I'm the worst with funerals and loss. It's terrible.
Yeah,
Listen, my
I
whole
really
family,
have.
our entire family is horrible at funerals. I'm telling you right now. I can't sit next to any of my cousins. Not Rashonda and none of our other cousins. I'm like, y'all can't be doing this in this funeral, because it's always at a funeral. Here, let me give you an example. Listen, let me tell you, I think it might have been my uncle. My uncle passed away. So all of us were going up to the church. You know, the family, his siblings and my grandma were in the limo, and we were all getting out of the cars and stuff. And it was a lady in our neighborhood. I'm not going to say her name, but it was a lady in our neighborhood that was coming to the funeral too. She knew my uncle. And she had on silver lipstick. And my aunt, who was crying tears, said, "Oh my God, there goes such and such. What she got on her mouth?" And my Uncle Didi said, "Shoe polish." I promise to God, somebody hit the floor. Anything can be a joke at a funeral. I swear, anything. And people outside of our culture don't understand it. They don't understand that. But Black people at a funeral, that's a whole comedy scene.
It's a whole comedy scene. I mean, it's not supposed to be funny. But no, you remember on the Mr. Brown with "This is your granddaddy."
That's what I'm saying. We find anything. It's perfect to explain how you can deal with pain and grief. Laughter in a situation of grieving and pain really helps with those other emotions in that moment. And it's just like anything can be funny. Anything can be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like Black people at funerals, it was on TikTok, as a matter of fact, I think, and they was like, you at a Black funeral when somebody tell you, make sure you give me an obituary, even though they're not going. Everybody want an obituary. Like, why? Everybody.
I mean, it's the same thing when Black people barbecue. I seen a whole barbecue at a funeral. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, I understand everybody eat after the service, but they was full on barbecuing outside. I was like,
oh no, we have full meals after. Ain't nothing like fried chicken at a funeral. Ain't nothing like funeral food. I'm sorry.
It's at the repast.
The repast funeral.
Okay,
food
can we
is
get off of funerals? Because, like, what? Why do we talk about funerals?
No, we need to talk more about how Suge just busted out his song about this.
That was in the movie though. That's how we act.
That was in the movie. It's really funny. Like, people, like, there's always comedy in something, and like, so a lot of comedians, that's why they're comedians. Like, they have a lot of pain, and so a lot they have to laugh, and they turned a lot of their pain into laughter. I mean, I like it. I think that it's what keeps people sane sometimes.
I love it. When you talk about comedians, I think back to Kevin Hart's first few stand-ups. Like, we know the trauma of having a drug-addicted parent, but he literally put that in his comedy, and it was hilarious. It's like, we shouldn't be laughing at this, but this is hilarious.
Right.
Yeah.
I just saw him actually in stand-up in July. I just saw him. This is pretty good.
It's like you go and you just like, man, I just need to laugh. Like, you know how like sometimes you just feel down, you're like, I just need to laugh. Like, that's how I get. I'm like, I just need to laugh, and then all of a sudden everything becomes funny. And it don't help that I'm like a 5-year-old in my own right anyway. So it's just really like, well, I gotta go ahead and go get this out. So now listen, don't come checking on me if I'm laughing excessively, because I do that anyway. But if I'm binge laughing, sometimes you might need to check on your friends that just be binge laughing all the time, because they might not be okay. They might be laughing to keep from crying.
That is a true thing. But you know what, too? Laughter, if we want to go like even deeper into how it helps us, laughter, people who laugh a lot statistically have lower blood pressure. They have more improved moods. They are at a reduced risk for heart disease. Like, laughter actually genuinely is medicine. Like that's always been a statement. Laughter is medicine, but it really is.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a movie.
Is that a movie? Laughter is that's not a
It is the
movie.
movie. Robin Williams, he's one of my favorite comedians. Was Robin Williams? He did that movie Patch Adams, and like that's based on a true story where he
Yeah,
had all those
I
kids
think that's
laughing and he improved their moods, and so they weren't just sad thinking about cancer and dying all the time.
Yep, I've seen Patch Adams. Yep.
Yeah.
Who's you guys' favorite comedian?
Favorite comedian? Ooh.
I mean, I like
Like
Robin
like your
Williams.
your go-to person you would watch.
Oh, Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac all the time. I'm sad he's gone. Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac and Robin Williams. That was it for me.
And see,
I don't really have a
even though
go-to.
his last stand up wasn't the best, Cat Williams was that for me. Cat Williams makes me laugh at anything.
Yeah.
I
Who
don't have a
yours?
go-to. It's just whoever the hell is funny at the time. That's what I'm gonna watch. I usually go on Netflix and just find the stand-up, and not even like super big names. I like the social media comedians. What's dude's name? Kev on Stage, Ryan
Kev on
Davis.
Stage.
I think his name's Ryan Davis.
Ryan Davis.
That's
yep.
hilarious. Like they be cracking me up. So
Oh
it's
my
not
God.
even. It's just whoever's funny,
If you have
Ryan
never
Davis
watched,
is smart.
Ryan Davis is hilarious.
smart and funny.
Yes, like when
Yep.
I'm like, no, he's not educating the mess out of these people and got me over here laughing. He is smart.
Listen,
He intelligent.
if y'all have never watched Ali Sadiq, he's a comedian, not super big, but if you go on YouTube and type in Ali Sadiq, I promise you, this is the funniest man I've ever. Like we were crying. I watched the same stand up 3 times and laughed just as hard every time. So look up Ali Sadiq.
Oh my God.
Hilarious.
All right, so basically we saying laugh. When stuff gets tough, you can laugh. Find something to laugh at. Now, what do you say to the people who are so in it that their affect is just completely flat? It's hard for them to laugh. What do they do?
Well, you gonna explain what an affect being completely flat is?
It means that okay, so sometimes when you're just really depressed and it's hard to find, like, you don't want to talk to people, and when you do talk to people, it's just hard to have a full-on conversation. You don't show any emotion, you don't smile, you don't cry, like it's just nothing. It's just a blank face all the time. But we know that there's something in there, like something. So how do you use laughter when you're in that space?
You
Like,
know
how do you
what
pull
I do?
that out?
What I do in those therapeutic sessions, when I do see the person that's down, we call them the Eeyore. The person that's just down and it just seems like they can't get up, is we talk about why they're down. And then as they're talking, as somebody is talking, you can always pick out little snippets of things that they say and kind of go from there, but also read the room, because some stuff just gonna be flat if you're not reading the room right. But sometimes I just pick out little snippets, and we might make something funny. If it's about knowing the patient, and then picking out little snippets and making something funny. And then sometimes I get people out of session and they're laughing so hard, and I've seen people laugh so hard and cry so hard at the same time. But after that session, they're like, "Listen, I need to come back next week because I still want to unpack some stuff, but thank goodness I'm leaving here feeling better."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a big
Sometimes
proponent of
I don't-
laughter through tears.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll ask the question of, you wasn't depressed your whole entire life. So what were you laughing at before you got to this stage? What were things that excite you? What were things that made you feel good inside? And maybe start there, and maybe we can build up to the laughter. I don't know. So
Yeah. No, that's
they had
and
to laugh at something before they were depressed.
and that goes
Maybe-
back to what Shug was saying about I don't even know the actual hormones. We're gonna have to fact check this, but I think there's serotonin, there's dopamine, there's endorphins. Those are like the positive chemicals that are released in your brain when you laugh. So whenever people are depressed, they stop doing the things that release those chemicals. So if you find out what that is, like Keisha's saying, and then encourage them to get into it. And then if this is a family member or a friend, go do it with them. Like, you don't have to talk to them and be all up in their face, but like, let's go. If you used to like to go on walks, let's go on a walk. We don't have to talk to each other, but if that's something that brought you joy and peace, let's do that together and get those endorphins going. It's not always laughter, it's just positive things that make you feel good.
Mm-hmm. So what you're talking about, Amber, when you say serotonin, what serotonin is like the happy drug for the brain. And so naturally we produce serotonin in our bodies and we produce it in our brains. And that's why you'll see some people are happier than others. So some people have, a lot of serotonin and that brain is constantly activated and they're happy. And some people just don't have it as much. And so sometimes there's chemical things that make your serotonin levels low. And that's why people, if you can't make somebody laugh their way to happiness or exercise their way to happiness, then that's when we get into using serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And so what that is the drugs that give you more serotonin by taking a pill every day, and it makes you a little bit happier. And so what we're saying is that that's naturally in your body. And I'm not saying that nobody needs medication, because some people absolutely do, but there are ways that you can activate your serotonin. Like you can, I get up every day and I go run. That's a part of my self-care. Or I go walk, or I go work out, because working out automatically increases your endorphins, which is another thing that kind of pushes through your body and makes you happy. And then a lot of times if I don't get up and go run and go work out, then I'm a little bit of a train wreck throughout the day, because I need to have that boost of energy for me to feel better about the day, especially with listening to clients and, even dealing with coworkers. Coworkers can sometimes be more difficult to deal with than the clients. And so just getting that natural boost of energy that increases your serotonin levels, the levels of your happy drug.
I would say on the flip side of this, we were taught an internship about the happiness trap, and this is more along the acceptance and commitment therapy, and they talked about like how in society we tell people that you have to be happy or that you can always achieve this level of happiness all the time, instead of telling them that no, there are going to be moments where you're not going to be happy about everything all the time, and that it's on a spectrum.
Yes.
So for me, yes, laughter, happiness, find your positive things, but sometimes also sitting in that discomfort. You don't have to sit there forever. And I think people get caught up in emotions are going to stay. I'm going to be in this situation or this mindset or mood forever, when emotions are temporary.
Yes.
So
yes.
Happiness is yes, we can achieve that, but it won't be something that will be sustainable every day, all day.
Yeah, there's been a lot of research lately on toxic positivity, people who are always trying to get you out of your negative feelings and get you back to that happy space, which causes you to ignore the feelings that we all want to kind of escape, like sadness, anger, depression. But I'm a major proponent of sit with your feelings, process them, give them time. All feelings are valid. And then get back to that space. Like we want to sit with it. This is why I said laughter through tears. Like I've had clients who didn't want to cry. They're like, I just don't like to cry. I'm like, well, that's a release. Crying is cathartic. Sometimes we need to cry. Sometimes you need to let that out. You don't have to try to be happy all the time. So the toxic positivity thing, trying to get people out of those negative emotions, is not always the answer either, but you just don't want to stay in that space for too long. For me, getting out of that space and getting back to positivity, laughter, watching my favorite movies, listening to certain music. Like right now, I got Meg's new album on repeat because I'm trying to, like, ultimately that is going to boost. That's going.
I can't wait to clean today, y'all, so I can listen to that. Sorry.
Ultimately, like Beyonce's album that just came out, all those things will boost you up and cause those different things like serotonin and endorphins to come in anyway. And also, sex. Sex is a natural happiness booster. Okay? Let's not forget it. And I'm not saying you got to have a full-blown sex session. Masturbation, sex, all of those things release those same chemicals naturally. So get yourself some. It'll make you happier.
Another thing too you said, Ashley, was you said those emotions, and you said like that people don't sit with themselves. And I think a lot of people don't sit with themselves. And what I mean when I say sitting with yourself is sitting with those emotions. Why am I sad? And everything I do, I say, why? With my patients, I'll be like, but why? But why? But why? Like, that's always my thing, is to ask why. Because deep down, people know why they know why they're going through what they're going through. They know why they're sad. They know why they're why they might be depressed that day. They might try to say like, oh, it's I don't know, I just woke up feeling down today. But if you say, but why you feel down? People will go into the crevices of their mind and be like, well, probably because this happened or my mama said this or my mama said that. And then what I try to do with that is take it, okay, well, if anger is your first emotion, why is anger your first emotion? And then we kind of start going through that, like why that's the first emotion. And then sometimes that's when I start to kind of make the jokes. And then I'm kind of pulling out that, the joking side of them, like, wow, I mean, there's some happiness in there too. And then that's a way to teach them how to cope with their anger and like turning it into something positive in real time.
I just want to give a caveat to that, Auntie Shug. Most people do know why if they sit and really process it. Sometimes those people dealing with that or major depression and it's chemical imbalance based, they don't really know why. They can't tell you why because it's not under their control.
Mm-hmm. And even if they don't know why, there is a reason. A lot of people say, like, and even maybe in the DSM under depression, it says you feel sad for no reason at all. But I'm a firm believer that there's always some reason. It may not be a direct reason, like something happened 10 minutes ago and it made me sad, but there is an underlying reason to it. So the whole point in being in therapy is to figure out, like, okay, if you feel like you're sad a lot for no reason, then let's find out what the reason is. Let's dig deeper. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, I just wanted to follow up with what Shug was saying and just like reiterate, like going back to whatever the problem was. So you're using the laughter and the positivity in the moment to kind of, like the analogy that I use, one of my supervisors absolutely hated this, but I use it like a fire. Like you're in crisis or you're becoming really anxious. It's like a fire, right? And you're always told to put the fire out at the base. You don't just want to put out the flames. You want to put it out at the base. But sometimes you got to put out the flames just a little bit to get that part down. That's your body's reaction. You want to lower that first so that you can even think clearly to process what's happening at the base to put that out. So it is like the laughter, the positivity, getting up and doing something, getting those those feel-good chemicals in your body. That's the flames. Yes, you're not going to use that permanently. Some people get stuck in trying to just suppress, meaning you're pushing everything down, and then the fire just completely blows up. But you want to use that a little bit, get the flames down, and then you attack the base of the fire at some point so that it all goes completely out. Well, not completely, but it's not like continuing to come back up and come back up. You don't want to use it as an avoidance technique. You want to use that as a distraction tactic and go back to whatever the problem was in the beginning.
Sounds right.